Even people who are careful with money still get this wrong. And I know that because I've done it. There are things I've spent money on over the years that I wish I could go back and undo. Not impulse buys or splurges, things I genuinely thought were smart at the time. So today I want to share with you 10 things I thought were good purchases that weren't. Because after years of living frugally and helping other women do the same, I realized something. It's not always the impulse buys that get us into trouble. It's the things we don't question. A quick note, this video is sponsored by Midi Health. I'll tell you more about them when we get there. But here's the big thing first. One of these is something people will actually tell you to spend more money on. But it's the one I regret the most. In my early 20s, I decided I needed a brand new car. So I went to the dealership and I picked out the cheapest one I could find. A little Hyundai Excel hatchback. No air conditioning, no radio, just $163 a month and the feeling that I was doing something responsible. And within a year, it already looked a mess. I came out of work one day and someone had dented the door. Another time, two guys got into a fight in the street and one of them got thrown onto my hood and caved it in. And that's how that car stayed. Looking back, I don't regret having a car. I regret buying new, even cheap new. Because that same $163 a month could have gone toward a used Honda or Toyota that actually would have lasted. And that was the first and last time I bought a brand new car. I used to think paying more at a doctor visit automatically meant better care, but that's just not necessarily the case. I've learned that in midlife, I've been dismissed many times over because I was told that what I was going through was just a sign of getting older. And that's just who I was now, tired, cranky, and hating how my husband chewed his food. Now, I've been fighting with my weight for 2 decades. I wasn't sleeping well at all. I couldn't stand most people, and I knew I could feel better. I just didn't know how to get there. I think it's really important to be your #1 fan and to advocate for your own care. Not all doctors understand you and are willing to take the time you need to figure out the solution to your problem. So if you don't love your doctor, even if it's the same doctor that delivered your babies and you've been seeing for 20 years, find a new one. Interview them like you're offering them a job in your Fortune 500 company. They work for you. I regret that it took so long. And here's what I've learned. It's not about spending more. And honestly, this is something I didn't fully understand until midlife. When your body starts changing and you realize not every doctor is equipped to help you through it. It's about finding the right kind of support. And this part of the video is sponsored by Midi Health, and it fits right into what I'm talking about here. What Midi gave me was clarity. We've worked on my hormone balance and we've found answers to my sleep issues. Come to find out, it had less to do with hormones and more to do with a lifelong anxiety issue I didn't even know I had. Although the hormone imbalance made it so much worse. Midi is a virtual care clinic made by women for women focused on midlife health. Things like perimenopause, menopause, sleep, mood changes, and weight. All of the stuff women deal with but don't always get clear answers about. What stood out to me is that they actually listen. They can run labs, go over the results with you, talk through what's happening, and help you come up with a plan that fits you. They can prescribe hormone and non-hormone prescriptions, and if you already have a doctor, they can work alongside them. This is how we discovered my high-functioning, low-level anxiety. My new therapist, Midi, and I worked together to find a solution. I never felt rushed or overlooked, and after being with Midi Health for almost a year now, I really enjoy the visits with my clinician. It makes sense that over 90% of women say they feel relief from things like hot flashes, anxiety, and brain fog within a few months because when someone really listens, things really start to change. If you've been struggling with sleep, hormones, or just not feeling quite like yourself lately, I highly recommend checking them out. Booking a visit is really simple. There's no memberships or hidden fees, and Midi bills insurance just like any other doctor. You can click on the link in my description or go to trymidi.com/frozenpennies to book a virtual visit with a clinician who understands women's health. Okay, back to the thing I actually regret buying because this next one is a doozy. I love thrifting. Every year I take a trip to my mom's and we spend a few days going to all of her favorite thrift stores. It's kind of our thing and I genuinely look forward to it. But what I've had to admit to myself is that even cheap clothes can still be a waste of money. Because what ends up happening is I come home with all these really great finds and then half of them just sit in my closet. It feels like I'm being smart in the moment because the prices are so good. But if I'm not actually wearing the clothes, then I'm not saving anything. And it's not just the thrifting either. It's the Amazon finds, the cute things that pop up on social media that feel like such a good deal at the time. I tell you guys in videos not to do this, and I've still let myself slip more than once. So now I'm trying to look at it a little bit differently. If I can't picture myself actually wearing something in the next week or two, then I probably don't need to bring it home at all. Back in 2010, I watched that documentary, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, and I was completely sold on juicing. It felt like one of those things where you think, this is the answer. So I saved up and I bought a really nice juicer. Not the cheap one either. I think I spent like $300 on it. And I used it for a little while, but it didn't stick. It was messy, it took time, and it just didn't fit into my everyday life the way I thought it would. And now it sits on my shelf in my basement. What I realized is that it's not just the juicer. Small appliances in general can be a bit of a trap. We buy them thinking they're going to change something, but most of the time they just end up being more work than we expected. A friend of mine had the exact same experience with a soda stream. By the time she bought the machine, the cartridges, and the flavors, she said it would have just been cheaper and easier just to buy seltzer at the store. And I think that's the part that's easy to miss. It's not just the cost of the appliance, it's whether your real life is actually going to support using it. Because if it doesn't, it just becomes something you paid for that ends up sitting on a shelf. Now, I've spent a lot of money on weight loss over the last 30 years, and probably even more in the last 10. One thing I've noticed about myself is that I like the idea of committing. So when something like an app or program comes along, instead of paying $29 a month, I think, I'll just pay for the whole year. That way I'll use it. I've made the commitment. But what I've learned is the version of me who buys the yearly plan and the version of me who actually uses it every day are two completely different people. So now I try to give myself a way out instead of locking myself in. I would rather just go for a walk around town and wave to the neighbors, honestly, than pay for another app. If you've been around frozen pennies long enough, you know I like to have a well-stocked pantry. You never know when the weather here in the Adirondack Mountains is going to have a temper tantrum and dump a ton of snow, knock the power out, or throw something unexpected at you. So I like being prepared. That stockpile gives me a lot of comfort. But what I've had to adjust is how much and what I'm actually buying now that there are only 3 of us in the house. Because sometimes buying in bulk just doesn't make sense anymore. I've got a bucket of flour sitting in my pantry right now that's probably past its best by date. And the truth is, I'm not making homemade bread. As much as I like the idea of being that person, it's just not how I actually live day to day. So I still stock up, just on the things I know we really use. Now, how many of us buy fresh produce with the best of intentions, only to throw it away because it turned brown or got slimy before we ever used it? I really thought I had gotten past this, but I bought fresh broccoli recently because I had a plan. I had my 2-week meal plan all set, and the second week I was going to do a sheet pan dinner with roasted broccoli. It went bad before I ever got to it. And this isn't new for me. I tend to stay away from most fresh vegetables like lettuce and broccoli because this happens. But every once in a while, I convince myself that this time it will be different. It's not. I love the idea of eating fresh vegetables, but that's not what actually works in my day-to-day life. So for me, frozen is just the better choice because at least I know it's going to get used. A few years ago, meal delivery services like HelloFresh were all the rage. They promised to save time, save money, and give you new ideas for dinner. And with the coupons, it felt like a really good deal. So of course I tried them, but they lied. It took way longer to chop, cook, and fuss with than it said it would, and more time than I was ever willing to give it. And it wasn't cheaper either. Once the discounts wore off, it actually cost more than just buying my own ingredients. I really wanted it to be the answer for quick, healthy dinners, but it just didn't fit my real life. And I think that's what I've learned with these things like this. Convenience isn't about how something looks on paper. It's about whether it actually makes your life easier. I have a small room in my basement with a wraparound desk and shelves, and it's full of craft supplies. Mostly scrapbooking, but there are also beads, yarn, embroidery floss, probably thousands of dollars worth of things I thought I was going to use. And to be fair, some of it I did. I made photo books of my boys when they were little, and I love having those. But a lot of it is still sitting there. Part of the problem is the space itself. It's in an old basement, it's cold, it's dark, and my husband told me I probably wouldn't want to go down there very often, and he was right. Over the years, I've picked up supplies for all kinds of hobbies I thought I might get into: jewelry making, knitting, embroidery, and most of it just never really stuck. I've even given some of it away to my friend Catherine so she could actually use it. Now, I do have a granddaughter who loves crafts, so I am planning on bringing a lot of it upstairs to go through it with her, which I'm really looking forward to. But I think what I've learned from this is, before I go out and buy everything for a new hobby, I need to make sure it's something I'm actually going to stick with. Because liking the idea of a hobby and actually doing it are two very different things. A long time ago, I bought a full Roden & Fields skincare system to help my cousin launch her business. It was over $300, and I used it for maybe 2 weeks. And apparently I didn't learn my lesson because I did something similar again more recently. Being on YouTube, I started to feel like I should be doing more. Like what I was doing wasn't enough. So I watched all these women in midlife with these long skincare routines, and I bought the products. And here's the thing. I don't like complicated. I wash my face, I use moisturizer, and that's what works for me. I'm using what I bought, but I won't be buying any of it again. This is the part that struck me the most. It wasn't really about the skincare. It was about feeling like what I was already doing wasn't enough. And that's a really expensive place to make decisions from. Now, looking back, none of these felt like bad decisions when I made them. They felt smart, they felt responsible, even necessary at the time. And I think that's the part that's easy to miss. It's not usually the obvious spending that causes the problem. It's the things we don't question. The things that feel right in the moment, but don't actually fit how we live. And once you start noticing that, you start making different decisions without really forcing it. Thanks to Midi Health, and if this video spoke to you, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and please watch this video next.